Penis! Penis, penis, penis. You knew I was going to say it, and I did it. Hey, guys. I don't even know what to call this show now. What is it?
It's Joel and Randy's Texas Tea.
Joel and Randy's Texas Tea. And hey, we got a show for you. If we only did a behind the scenes, you guys would know how many meltdowns we've been having every week. So it's been exciting, and it's going to be exciting today, too. So here we have our host, Joel. He's walking around. And then we have...
Hello, everyone.
Pinky.
In the house.
Sorry, Pinky.
Live in living color.
Yes. Marcus is our guest for today.
Going by Mark.
Hi.
So as not to be confused by our other guest, Mark.
Oh.
Marcus.
Maybe that's why I was confused. And then in the last but not least, David White.
Hello, everyone.
White.
So
Randy's on hiatus this week,
Yes.
so he will not be here to join us,
Hence why I said
unfortunately.
penis.
That's why he said penis.
Without threat of being shushed.
And you avid listeners will recognize that, because penis is shunned
Yes.
as a word.
And I tend to say it a lot for some reason.
Mhm.
Probably because I'm sexually repressed.
I feel like that we all feel much better. We feel much more relieved
About
by
what?
saying the word penis.
I do. It makes me feel
Because
good.
we have
I think
been
we can.
constricted with the word.
We've been
with the
repressed.
words.
It makes
we've
me
been
think of
repressed.
floppy long things.
Mhm.
That makes me happy.
Penis oppression. This is a penis oppression-free episode.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just letting it all hang out.
Yeah. You first.
Mm-hmm. So
I'm always freeballing.
I guess we're about to get naked here and let it all hang
Why
out.
not? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh Lord.
I just cut a hole in the thigh of my jeans, and it just...
Mm-hmm.
I'm freeballing every
Let's-
week I'm here. Just that's why I prefer this chair.
Let's have a little bit less talk about Pinky's penis and move on.
Okay, so wait.
Pink
Did you
tie.
see Stranger Things 3 yet?
I have not seen Stranger Things. I've not seen this third season.
Okay, so I don't watch a whole lot of TV, actually. And I actually had not seen Stranger Things 1 and 2. But I watched Stranger Things 3.
Oh, you were
Gas. I'm gasping right now.
It blew me the
start a
fuck.
series.
It blew me the fuck away.
Oh, no.
Mhm.
It's so.
So you watched-
fucking-
you watched
1 and 2.
Yes, so
And
you
then
watched 3
actually, I
first.
started reading some reviews, and they're saying a lot of people hate it because it's not like Stranger Things 1 at all. So I went and watched Stranger
Sure.
Things 1. That is so boring as fuck, dude.
Oh god.
I thought the
Man.
second one was boring. I found it hard to get into the second season.
I
but
watched
I
the
liked
whole
one.
I watched
Okay,
the whole
well,
one, but I only watched half the second one because it's like boring me out.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll get on to 3. 3 is fucking amazing.
All right.
So,
There you
If you like adventure movies,
Yeah.
it's an adventure movie
Mhm.
for sure. 6 hour long or whatever.
It's like Avengers series.
And there's some gayness that pops up too. Not a whole lot.
Is it a Q1 missing his teeth?
Not a whole
spoiler.
lot. I'm not
Q1.
spoiling. I'm not spoiling anything.
After he was
The alien is gay. The thing and then
the one who had the bald hair.
pineapple, the upside down or whatever it is.
It's the upside down.
Not the pineapple upside down.
It's
The pineapple.
I think that's
upside
a
down.
cake.
I love
So
it.
you know the only thing that gets me about Stranger Things, are they alien or are they supernatural? What's going on with that? Because I'm still confused about what that.
Mr. Stranger Things expert.
Oh, I am not
Mhm.
the Stranger Things expert. I was taking offense to you starting a series on the third season.
Mhm.
The
Yeah,
general practice.
Who does that?
There you
Right?
go.
No, the only reason
That
I
is
did
like
that
starting
is-
Game of Thrones on
Last
the third
episode.
season.
Well, actually, it's a
and not-
self-contained season, really. And my
Oh, it is?
roommate told me that you can just start.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
I mean,
Well,
you
that's
can
what
miss
I
some
get
stuff, but
because I don't know anything about it. So.
I knew there's a
I
girl
haven't
with
watched
telekinetic powers. I knew there's some weird pineapple upside down thing. But other than that,
I love that
I love the
pineapple.
pineapple upside down. Oh my god.
Mhm.
No, yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I heard it was a really great season, and everybody on
Mhm.
Facebook and everywhere else is talking about it.
Mhm.
OMG.
OMG. Yes.
Is that
So-
what the Area 51 meme is? Is that what this
wait,
is?
what's the thing with Area 51?
What?
I thought that was from
over.
Stranger
It's all
Things.
No,
over
no, I don't
Facebook.
think so.
Oh, it's not?
Why
Okay.
why is it trending right now?
Why is everyone looking at me? I have no idea.
Because you're the like.
I haven't been
Pop
back to
culture.
Area 51 since I left. You don't get day passes.
I
Okay.
just spit my gum out.
Okay, so actually, I can't believe this. I'm gonna have to say this. Actually, I kind of know where that came from.
What?
It turns out that it was a joke by a guy. I can't remember where he's. think it's California. I can't remember, but it started as a joke that he sent out to like a couple of friends, and then it just blew up.
Huh.
It just
Interesting.
completely blew up. This is what
What
happened.
did he say as a joke?
The whole Area 51 thing.
What about it?
Invading Area 51 to release the aliens.
Oh,
So
okay.
it started off as just a joke, and then it just became this huge thing. And this guy who started this, he's like, I didn't really think it was just a joke. I didn't really think it was going to go this
Wow.
far.
David,
Right.
have you heard
They said
about
the same
it?
thing
I've
about-
seen it all over Facebook, but I have no idea
Yeah.
what it's about.
Mhm.
They said the same thing about William
Mhm.
Monk's career.
Look, he has a platinum. single,
Exactly.
Okay.
He has a platinum
So
single
don't
now.
throw
I
shade
mean,
at
wasn't
him.
that like
It was just a joke. They had no idea it was going to go this far.
That was like 15 years ago.
Mhm.
Oh God, I feel fucking old.
Yes.
Damn it. And then they did that whole show where it was like all the worst people kept getting through. Like they deliberately tricked these people. I think that only lasted for a season though, because it was a horrible, mean thing to do to people.
You know, my biggest thing is I feel like the whole Area 51 thing, first of all, the Air Force said, come here, we'll shoot you.
Okay.
You are going to get
You're not
shot.
going to get very far.
You're not going to get very far.
Right.
But there are 1 million people who are like, we're going to go to Area 51.
Right, that's the
And, like,
equivalent to the Air Force like taking off their earrings.
Yeah, exactly.
Hold my way.
Taking their heels off and going, bitch, come on in here. You're going to get shot. That's what's going to happen. You are going to get shot.
Oh my God.
And they had made it quite clear, come to Area 51, you're going to get shot.
Oh my goodness.
So the thing is, for me is, I feel like that this is like a whole exercise in heterosexual men running to see if the alien is hot enough to do.
What?
So if
Oh
they,
my
so
God.
if they release
Where did
it,
you get
and they're
that?
like,
Why do they have to be
"Oh,"
heterosexual?
Right.
because it's always heterosexual. And in every the Star Trek series, all this other. I mean, Captain Kirk
Species.
is literally screwing every species on the planet of female, as long as they're female. He is literally screwing every species.
No, he is.
He literally is.
I
Wait
thought
a
he was
minute.
kind of hot.
And I
too.
shouldn't say species. I should say humanoid because
right,
if we
they're
were to
humanoids,
be,
right? Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if there is such a thing as alien life out there, I feel like they would be
Humanoid?
humanoid.
What?
Why do you
No,
think
they're
that?
not a humanoid because we all look like humans.
I think that's
No.
They're not
I-
going to spend money
no.
on some non-humanoid.
No, when I say humanoid, I mean that they will have certain attributes. Like,
Orifices.
So yours. Hold on. Let me make sure. Hold on. I'm confused. So you think that in real time, real life, if there's other life out there, they look like us?
That's actually
no, I'm not
interesting
saying that.
idea.
No, I never
That's what
said
I'm
that.
hearing.
I-
That's what you just
the
said.
term humanoid actually means the fact that they would be sentient, intelligent, maybe, probably 2 arms, 2 legs, but they wouldn't look like us. They would just
Well,
have
they
some
sort of
qualities
resemble-
that were
Right.
that are close to
Right. I mean,
because if you think about it, if there are other beings, if we're not alone in the universe, then I would feel like that there are other beings that might not necessarily look like us, but have some of the same qualities.
That's interesting.
And
Like
that
if
we
the
would
evolved
have.
life
Social
forms
politics,
Yeah,
etc.
evolved to have
exactly.
2 legs.
Well, what's funny
Mhm.
is humanoid is totally like a relative thing
Mhm.
based on our
Yeah,
language
exactly.
and our
Mm-hmm.
way of designating species names. Because
Mhm.
we'd be like if they were like if they
Mhm.
called themselves Cheetos, we'd be Cheeto-oid to them instead of humanoid.
Mm-hmm.
So
I wanna be
they're the only
Dorito
human-
boy.
So is ET a humanoid?
On
Yeah.
a certain level, he kind
Yeah.
of is. Yeah, on a certain level,
Wow,
he
we're
is.
getting very
Yeah,
Hmm.
on a certain level, I think he's humanoid. He
Can we get really geeky though? I just have this
Oh.
burning question. Okay, did y'all watch Star Trek? The one with Captain Picard?
yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
of course.
Okay.
What
can-
kind of question is that?
Of course.
Yeah,
What?
making sure. I'm just making sure. Okay. Can
We're gonna
somebody
have to
please?
take back your geek card, I guess.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, so you know how each department wore their different color coded clothes. Like
Oh.
the security wore
Yeah.
a certain color.
Mhm.
There was like a red one. All the medical people wore the blue.
Mhm.
Like Dr.
Right.
Crusher wore the blue. How come Deanna was the only one that could change her outfits?
Because she was
That's
a
always
counselor.
bothered me.
Because
She's the
Shouldn't
the
she be under
counselor.
the medical terms though? Like
No,
She's in
because-
some other realm.
Well,
She still had a rank. She still had, wasn't she like a lieutenant commander or something like that? She still had a rank though, but even though she was a counselor, so Maybe
Yeah.
some days she's being a counselor, she'd wear the dress. The other days she's being a lieutenant commander or whatever her rank was, she would wear what the guys are wearing, I guess.
Get away with it just because she's like
Yeah, because
psychotherapist.
like on certain episodes, like I'm like, she's the only one that can
So
come
like,
in with a
That's
bedazzled
a good
outfit.
observation.
I'm so shocked at that. I have no idea.
As a gay,
Well, I mean,
that
I know
was-
the uniforms.
I
get
was
that.
drawn to that as a young gay boy. You know, like oh, she used to change her outfit.
I think like on the later episodes,
That's
like
the
the
character he
last,
wanted
like on
to
the
be.
last episodes, that she was mostly not wearing a dress. I think.
I used to fucking hate Wesley Crusher because I was like, oh, I'm like him. I'm like this fucking white
Thought he was
dwarf.
cute.
And now that I'm older, I'm like, he's not that bad actually. He's
Wesley
pretty cute.
Crusher was the
He's
most
cute.
annoying thing on that show. He just annoyed me so
But
much.
what do you expect?
I thought he was
Oh
cute.
my god, he was just so annoying.
They should have had a more aggressive, sort of more buff foil to him.
Like,
But he was the
but
son
he
of
was
the
like
doctor,
son
though.
of the
so,
doctor.
like,
He's like,
just a little,
Yeah.
just a
No,
little
they
son.
should have had another character who was like the opposite of him to be his foil, basically.
mhm.
Right.
I mean, it was just a suggestion.
In literary terms. To, like,
In
have some major...
literary terms?
Well, yeah, a character to oppose his
Yeah.
geekiness and
Mhm.
that he constantly
And
was
beats
back
him
and forth.
up.
Mhm.
They're,
And
they're
then it has-
Chris. They're Chris to my pinky.
Oh my god.
Wait, what is?
Are we encouraging bullying on the Star Trek?
No, it's just it's a fantasy. It's a fantasy.
Oh, okay, that kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
not my Chris to my pinky.
Hey, maybe I should write that as fan fiction.
Yeah, there you go.
Interesting. I'd read it.
You know, can you make sure that it's an adult Wesley Crusher, because a teenage Wesley Crusher would just be weird.
Whoa.
There is a section though on Nifty though for
Mm-hmm.
adult youth.
Yeah, that would just be weird.
Well, what's the cutoff age?
What is the age of consent on the Enterprise?
What state are we in?
I think it's 18 here in this
Okay,
state.
thank you there, R. Kelly. But there is- Thank you for that. Thank you, R. Kelly.
Wait,
for
I
that.
like him over 30.
It's like a whole new meaning to Deep Space Nine.
Oh, that's a completely different one.
Yeah,
I
we're
know.
not going to talk about that.
Yeah, and
We're
Deep,
not going to talk about that.
Deep Space Nine.
That should have never existed.
Wait.
Wait, what?
No, he's good. I like
I
it.
saw it. I've
No,
never
you did
seen.
not.
I can't
Deep
get into
Space
it. I've never
Nine.
seen it.
Deep Space Nine was a shit.
Can
I
you
love
explain
Deep
it to me?
Space
I've
You
never-
could call it Deep Space 9.5.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ.
You're like shitting all over Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
Penis.
Oh my god.
Oh, good grief! No, I mean
That's good stuff.
this was the first Star Trek that involved just life on a space station, being a commander on a space
I think this is
station,
what made it so boring,
And-
too.
and
Thank you.
No.
it was
Wait,
not
it's-
boring. And by the way,
boring. I thought you said boring.
No,
By the
because
way,
it's being on the space station all the time.
it's
Like,
one of the few times that the captain was actually kind of hot. I mean, he was hot.
I remember who the captain was.
Well, if you go,
I mean,
for-
Janeway was pretty attractive. You know, I'm not attracted to women, but you know, I liked her.
I
I'm the captain.
Captain Janeway.
she was on Voyager.
She's the one with the big, like,
Voyager. She was
red hair.
Voyager.
Yeah,
She was Voyager.
Voyager. But
But
I
we're
was,
comparing captains.
I'm gonna be honest.
No.
I was all about, and I know I'm gonna get this wrong. I've heard the jokes about it before. I was all about 6 of 9. Yes.
right, yeah.
That was the Next Generation.
Yeah, that was Next Generation. Was that Next Generation?
Yeah.
I kind of found her to be uncomfortable because her breasts were just so in your face that it's kind of like
Well, that
Made me
outfit
feel
was
strange.
Walk
so-
up too fast to somebody and like, bam!
like how could you imagine having to work with her on set? I think it would be distracting. And was that a
Like
scene?
suddenly turn around, just wham, take somebody's glasses off their
I
face or
don't think
something.
her name was a play on words, right? 6 of 9
It was definitely
with the big boobs.
Mhm.
69.
Yeah.
You don't think that was a play on words?
That was a play on words.
Might have
For
been
her
a-
name.
You have to remember
Interesting.
that geeks are super horny, so when they write their female characters, they write them in the most
Oh.
They go on-
ridiculous
they go on
way.
dates
on
all the
planet.
Just like video games.
Yeah,
Every
just like
female
video games.
character
Mhm.
is wearing a thong,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
all the guys have on all this armor.
Tomb Raider.
I know.
It's crazy.
You know, the funny thing is that when I played World of Warcraft for years. I'm a huge World of Warcraft fan, and I played it for years. And I always play female characters because I feel like female characters have the best attributes when it came to certain classes. So I always
those
played
attributes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Not
my-
attributes.
I thought
So-
you meant attributes.
And the funny thing is, and playing as a gay man who's using a female character, my biggest pet peeve was the fact that, okay, so I'm going to go get a breastplate, and it's just a bra. And I'm like,
Or some
what the
pasties,
fuck
like-
is this?
Like Madonna.
I'm like-
Madonna.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
I'm
you got
like,
these random
I
guys
literally
walking
never
around.
played as a female character because I play as the guys and I take their clothes off.
mhm.
Oh,
Like
God.
I wouldn't do that with.
So he's swagging it to the guys, okay?
No,
That'd
but
be a- that'd be
especially
me.
because
I mean,
I always played
I'm
as
so
a mage.
basic.
Yeah, because I always played as a mage.
No way.
I love magic, dude.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, that's my favorite
class.
thing.
Hey, we should have a magic
Yeah.
night. I've never
So
played
I always play in any game like that. I always play as a magical character, and the best magical
Yeah.
characters are always the female characters. So, but
Right.
my biggest thing is that when I would go buy equipment or stuff, it's like, oh, these boots are such and such,
Right.
10
Right.
plus, and I'm like, what woman is wearing out on the
In-
battlefield?
imbued
Lacy,
pasties.
in these
Lacy bedazzled.
lacy
bathing suit.
bedazzled boots. I'm like, this is something a drag queen would wear if she was going out to go in the battle, but no regular woman would
Right.
wear. You're going out in the battle, and you're half
Invoking
naked,
Rue.
and your male compadre is completely covered in armor, and this is the armor you get.
Right. He can barely see out of his armor because his whole
Yeah,
face is
exactly.
fucking covered
okay,
even.
well, you don't have an option for more armor if you're a woman.
No,
They
because
deliberately
now-
designed them to be.
now that was in the older days of
Now
World
it's
of
a little bit
Warcraft.
more-
Now it's more realistic.
Yeah.
Because thankfully enough, a lot of women who play these games, and by the way, women are still the majority players when it comes to video games. They
Interesting.
get the most harassment, but they are still they're still the majority players.
That's
I
what I
have
was
not
going
heard
to
this
ask you.
before. Yeah.
Like, how many times did you get proposed for sex or married? Playing a female character
So many
online.
times. Thank God.
Hey, Dave.
Thank God I had the mic and the headphones. Because
Oh
it's
my
like,
God.
hey, dude, I'm a dude. But I'm also a gay dude. So if you want to
Drag
hook
queen
up,
looking
I'm
avatar.
down for that.
it.
Oh, that is
But I'm
Exactly.
gay, so if you want to hook up for it and you're down for it, that's fine.
You're
except for
attracted.
that, except for that one time when it was a 13-year-old boy, and I'm like,
You-
yeah, dude. I just want you to lead me on this quest. That's all I want you to do. You're 13. I'm not having this conversation with you. Just take me on this quest because you're a level higher, and I need you to take me on the quest.
Right.
Interesting.
That was it, and that was weird. That was the weirdest thing that ever happened to me in World of Warcraft. Was the fact that I had to go on this quest, and I met up with this warrior, and we're talking, and he is 13 years
It's
old.
like Ready
and I'm
Player
like,
One.
Like, what would he say? Would he say like, "Hey, what's up? I'm Jeremy."
"Mhm."
want to form a party?
Yeah. I'm like, hey, I'm going on this quest, and I need a level higher. Can someone go on this quest with me? And of course,
He saw big
I've
boobs
got,
and like,
yeah, he saw my mage and came running over and offered to help.
You're a trap.
Offered to help.
You're what they
Oh
call
my
a trap.
And
Online.
exactly.
That's a trap.
And he's like, hey, how are you? I'm like, I go to X and X middle school, and yeah, and I'm like, okay, at
This
the
is a
time,
great idea for a movie.
okay, at the time, I was like,
oh my god.
I'm sorry, I'm a 35-year-old adult male, so we're not going to do this, but I need to get through this level. So can you please help me go on this level? And he's like, oh man, okay, sure, why not? And then in the middle of it, you know what pissed me off? In the middle of it, we're almost done. I can hear his mom in the background going, "It's time for you to go to bed. You need to go to bed." I'm like,
That is the
"You go-"
greatest.
I'm like,
That's
you
so funny.
tell your mother that we were in the middle of the quest,
This is too funny.
and tell that bitch she needs to go back upstairs. I did use the word bitch, and I apologize.
Oh my god,
for
it would
that.
be great if the speakers were on and his mom like suddenly heard like,
Well, that
a
technology-
voice over the speakers.
Yeah,
Oh
that
my
technology
God.
did not exist back then. It
Right.
exists now, but that
Right.
technology did not exist back then. So it was
Oh my god, that's
it's
so
more like, hey, look, tell your mom we need to finish this because I need to finish this level so I can level up my mage.
exactly.
So that's
Oh.
yeah. It
Good
was
times.
yeah. I'm like,
Good
what?
times.
I put my headphones down and went, I have got to stop playing this game. I'm literally
Right, that's a
literally
come to Jesus
got
moment.
sexually
Mhm.
harassed by a 13-year-old boy. And literally got
Because
sexually
of your big
harassed.
melons.
Because of my mage. And that is not a trap, by the way. I respected her abilities, and I used her to the fullest. That was not a trap.
No,
So-
a trap is somebody who plays with a hot female character,
Mhm.
and they have this masculine male voice over the thing. Like, that's a trap.
Yeah, I know. Don't they call it catfishing now? Is that
No,
considered?
I mean if you're doing it on purpose
No,
to
no,
catch
no.
people, then it's catfishing.
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
But that a trap is
But
just.
gamers
you know,
call
Mhm.
male gamers who play with
Mhm.
hot females traps
But
Why
like
are
a
they
tra-
called traps? 'Cause
like a trap queen.
because of what that 13-year-old wanted to do.
Mhm.
Right.
Like he was trying to get with him.
It's like,
And he
oh,
was
Have you
disappointed.
met gay guys on World of Warcraft? Like, and what is that all about?
I
never
have
saw
not.
I never saw any.
I'm not.
There's not like a gay.
I
Guild.
really wish there were because
There probably was a gay guild.
There probably was.
Yeah.
Probably was, but they were probably like they stopped playing suddenly because they all started hooking up at home and like quit
Probably.
playing WoW.
Or they got harassed to death.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
They
good
no
Lord,
longer
playing video
needed-
games.
Right.
You have really got to have balls of stone
Oh, yeah.
to deal with some of the shit that these guys
Oh,
say.
yeah.
These guys say some
It's
awful
pretty
shit.
abusive. Isn't
That's
It's
literally
pretty
the first thing
abusive.
that's ever
Mm-hmm.
made me want to play WoW.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right there?
But getting abused by
Oh please! I wish those bitches would.
Mhm.
I played WoW for like 2 hours, but I didn't get it.
Mhm.
So I stopped.
You know, I will say this about WoW. At one point, I was already in hour 14. So I literally did not leave my chair. I called for a pizza. The guy came over. I'm like, just leave it on the. I already paid with a credit card. Just leave it at the door. I'll get it. Left it at the door.
3 days later.
Ice cold.
I had enough time to like go and get the pizza, come back in because I was in the middle of something, and I lost my point.
Yeah, you were just in the chair for like 72 hours. I think you said.
Mhm. But
Sure,
at
I think
one
you said
point,
14.
oh yeah, at one point I'm like, I feel like I'm at work right now. I'm just doing tedious tasks for NPCs just so I can level up
Yep.
to the next, just so I get to. It was a lot of work, and
It
I'm
is a
like,
lot of work.
you know what? I'm going to put this down for a bit because I've literally been working in a forest, hunting down boars.
It's all about the grind. It's all about
Just
the
so I
grind.
can level up one level.
Well, where's the
I'm-
when does it get fun? Like, what's the fun part?
Oh, the fun part is when you
Battling.
fight like the big major characters,
Okay,
and you learn your spells and all this
Right.
other stuff, and you get
so
the
you have
In
battles.
PvP,
yeah.
like
mhm,
when you fight each other.
mhm.
Yeah.
I rarely did that though, because like I said,
Noob.
yeah, some of these guys are like complete douchebags, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to deal with.
It's so interesting. Actually, it's funny because I just started a new anime, watching a new anime. A friend of mine got me into anime, and so now I'm like checking them all out, and it's called Sword Art Online.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, yes.
And they get stuck in this video game,
Yeah.
and so like the whole thing is about that. I thought it was super fascinating.
So are
It's
you
pretty
watching?
cool.
Which one are you watching? One?
Probably
The first
one, yeah.
The first one. Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it's the first
It
one.
started as a book.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
the second one.
Wait,
not
the
even gonna
second
go-
season?
No, there's a
The
Sword Art
one
Online
with
2.
the guns?
No, the one with the guns.
I didn't
It's
get that.
okay. It's okay.
What's the second season?
The second. Oh, I don't want to.
I haven't seen it all of it.
Oh my god.
I haven't finished season
It's
one
more
yet.
intense than the first season. Oh my god, there's some
Yeah.
very
And
intense scenes. In
The cool thing for me is like, in order to really get into it, I have to appreciate the art
Mhm.
in it too, and like some of the anime art is like
Mhm.
hokey.
Yeah. I don't
and,
like
and
Hokey.
it doesn't like I can't like watch it because I literally
Or
can't.
like the intro song is like, la 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 la. It just takes you out of the show.
And it's like, wait a second.
Mhm.
So I kind of really dig the art that's
Yeah.
in Sword Art Online. It's good. It's cohesive.
It is
the
pretty,
people like
it's intense, the
Mhm.
battles.
yeah.
Mhm.
And so I think it just like they just got past the point where like they thought there was a ghost in the safe area.
You know the best thing about Japanese anime is the music at the beginning of every anime. It's always super rocky, and and the words when they translate the words.
It's so interesting
It's
that
like-
those are the words. Is like
Well,
really?
what's the one on Netflix? The Devil May Crybaby. The
Oh
intros-
my god! Oh my
The
god.
intro to that is freaky.
Devil May Cry Baby.
Devil Man Crybaby.
Oh, Devil Man Cry Baby.
Yeah.
Okay, I will tell you this: as I watched the entire season, it is the most brutal anime I have ever watched.
I only watched the first episode.
Yeah,
I just
it
finished-
is not going to leave you feeling very good at the end. It
Oh,
is
really?
the most. I'm not gonna say awful.
I'm excited.
because it was amazing,
Yeah.
but it just
I'll have to
it
go
was
watch it
awful.
then.
It was just awful.
Dark.
It was so dark and so wow. And I think we need to get off the subject because Marcus and David are like, I don't know what these
Right.
bitches are talking
Oh,
about.
no.
But it goes right into the
Mm.
topic for discussion we discussed in our group chat about the fact that we're all more than just gay as far as our identities. Just like we originally started off talking about like some Russian politics, I think, before or Russian happenings, and then got segued into what was going on with Russia and the deal with was it the Supreme Court this morning?
The
news?
the Mueller.
Yeah.
The Mueller
They
report.
started going through the Mueller report.
Yeah.
And they were like reading this guy. They were just, oh my gosh. And any response he had was like 3 words long.
I can't answer that.
Wait,
I'd
so
rather not answer
what's
that.
going on?
I can't speak to that.
What the latest is on?
They're basically taking Mueller through
He
his own report.
he testified before 2 congressional committees today. The first one was Judiciary, the second was Intelligence Committee. And basically they're trying to draw words out of him saying, is this impeachable? I can't answer that. Is this obstruction of justice? I can't answer that. So basically, if you read the Mueller report, you got nothing out of today.
Which we all need to be doing because apparently the majority of Americans have not read the
That's why
report.
I read a statistic. It's like 93% of America has not read
it.
Has not read the
Is it
Mueller
worth
report.
reading?
Oh, it'll put you to
Yes.
sleep.
Really?
It'll put you to sleep. But if you're into that kind of stuff, though,
I don't
you're,
think it would put
into
you to
it,
sleep.
A foreign country, like,
meddling in the
read
elections.
into our election in 2016. Like, I don't think a lot of people understand like how serious that is. It's,
Oh, right. Well,
they,
that's kind of a...
they altered
That's totally serious, yeah.
the outcome, but a lot of people aren't taking it seriously because it's not like like they didn't send a missile off into us, so people don't consider that war, but I consider that like an act of war.
I'd probably even
They're
maybe
messing
worse than a
Yeah.
missile. I think it might be because it's going to be
It's espionage. I mean, and who knows how well rooted
How
it
are we
got
going to
stuck
recover
in.
from all of this damage that this administration is doing? If
And I think that I think you really look no further than Trump did not get the popular vote. He lost the popular vote,
almost 3 million.
but he won the electoral college, and I think that's an indication right there that something's not right. That should have an indication right there. I mean, it's happened. I think 3 times in our history,
Yeah.
but it's just it's
Once with
so
Bush.
rare.
Yeah, I was gonna say
right,
Bush
yeah.
and
his brother
It's
was the
just that
governor.
it's so rare that when that happens, you just kind of you have to raise your eyebrow and go, "How did this happen?"
Yeah,
Right, or like a side head tilt with your a puppy, like
yeah. And that's
Or
one of my
maybe-
biggest gripes with America, and this may be like a little controversial, but I feel that we're one of the few countries, and we say that we have a democracy, but we don't actually directly select our leaders. I hate the Electoral College because
Me too.
if all 5 of us, all 5 of us go vote, that's not considered, 5 votes.
right. Somebody
for the
else
president,
decides how we're broken up and which
Exactly.
votes actually count
Right.
for what side.
If we all
Right.
vote Democrat here in this state, but Republicans are the majority in this state, all of our votes don't matter.
Right.
And that is a horrible system to me
Right.
because, states don't vote, people do. So it should be one woman, one man, one vote.
And I think
That's
that when it was
you know?
instituted, it was probably there was a reason. And I think it was a good reason. I think we moved beyond that as far as population.
I think it was
is.
counting wise. I think
Wait,
Well, it
do we
was like
really
every
wanna
state,
get into
whatever
that?
state would
Because-
have its own. Every state would have. No, I'm not defending the electoral college.
Oh, no,
it
no,
needs
no,
to
no,
go
no,
away.
no.
Yeah.
But I think there was a time for it. But that time is long gone.
yeah.
Well,
I don't even think
so
that-
I want to
that's-
actually. This is actually quite interesting because I want to throw this out. I was I spend way too much time on the internet. I have to do all this stuff for the show. So
Me
I
too.
spend a lot of time on
mine's
the
not for
internet.
the show, though.
So something interesting actually came up. If we did away with the Electoral College, there was something that came up that said that only 4 states would actually be able to vote in a president.
If we
If
100%
we're-
vote.
Because their populations are larger.
Right.
That would be California,
Texas, New York, and
Texas,
Florida.
New York, and Florida. The rest of the states would be left out. And
I
I
agree with
don't
that.
know if that's a sound argument
If we did
for
away
that,
with-
because
if we did
to
away
get-
with
if
it?
we did away with the Electoral College and did it by popular
Because
vote,
there's, but
those 4 states would control most of
Have the
votes.
potential.
Have
They're
the
so
potential.
divided. Without the
Mhm.
electoral college, there are no red and blue states, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what
It
they're.
seems like
That's
it would-
a scare tactic that the electoral college is using to keep itself
it seems,
in position.
Yeah, it seems actually it would be the opposite because if it's the electoral college, then if half California is Republican, just as long as you have a little bit over Democrat, all of California goes Democrat. So it seems more
Right.
Exactly.
And sometimes
Because-
not even that.
I
If
think,
the
and
electoral.
look at a state like Texas, where the state as a whole is pretty red, But Houston is majestic blue, and Austin, and San Antonio, and Dallas,
Yeah.
and like
And those
we're
are
all
a lot
like,
of people.
yeah.
And look what
So-
just happened. Beto almost took this state. So
Right.
it's
And it
BS
was-
to say that, one state is red and one state is blue because, like, he almost took the state. He lost by 2%.
Right.
You
It's
know,
like
I mean,
forcing
so-
division in the country.
Yeah.
To like, okay, if we all have to move to the other side of the country in order to have things the way that we want them, it's like they're forcing that division to let one side of the country be blue and one side of the country be red.
some states are going about it where they take all of their electoral votes and they go to the popular vote because they take a constitutional amendment to do away with electoral college. So that's years in the making. So
Yeah.
in the meantime, you just said all your electoral college votes go to the popular vote, and I think
Winner.
that's
Yeah.
probably a better
and
way
that's
to
the
go.
policies they should
Yeah.
follow.
Yeah,
And governors are signing that.
not
but
Republican ones.
not
Right.
Republican ones, but they do have to meet a threshold before it'll actually go into effect. I think they're pretty close. I think they're at 180 electoral votes, but they
Yeah.
have to get to a larger amount.
So I think it's time for us to take a little bit of a breather. Right?
No, because we got to throw in commercials and stuff and mid-break.
And stuff.
Mhm.
So stay tuned for these words for our sponsors and Spreaker, and we will be back.
It's Freaker.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Joel and Randy's Texas Tea. What are you wearing, baby?
I just got a hard on. I literally walked to the table going, "Oh my god, my penis is sticking out pretty far." Yes, bitches, I said penis.
Penis.
Word of the day is penis.
Penis.
I literally just said penis. Welcome back to the second half of the
No,
show.
I thought you just figuratively said it, but no, you literally said
No,
it.
I literally said, not figuratively. I literally said
How would you
penis.
figuratively say
I
that?
know, really. How
Still trying
would
to
you?
figure
Like
that
weenie?
out.
Mhm.
Maybe.
Mhm. And can we, by the way,
I heard your brain.
and by the way, can we shut this whole figurative and literal? I hate when people say, "I literally said," and I'm like, wait,
But that wasn't just literal.
you said it, so it's already literal.
Well, no, wait. I hate it when people
So-
say, "I literally did this," but they didn't literally do it.
I literally wanted to kill him.
Huh? What?
I literally wanted to kill him.
No, like
So
I
basically
literally,
you
I
killed
literally
him?
flew off the
I
building.
thought he said I literally wanted tequila.
I did.
So you want tequila.
I do. I literally
So
wanted
why do
Literally
you have
want
to use the
tequila.
word literal to say, "I want tequila"?
I
just
think it's an emphasis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not emphasis. He's doing air
Or
quotes,
quotes.
y'all. Calm down,
No,
Joey.
it's for the emphasis, bitch.
Emphasis.
But
No,
if
it
you
was-
say,
it was
but if
literal
you say,
emphasis.
"I want tequila," then you want tequila. You
Yes.
don't have to use the word literally in front of tequila. I want tequila. That's it. We
Then
got
why
that.
did you say I literally said the word penis? You just
Because I wanted to emphasize how much.
So you're using
That
literally as an
is ridiculous.
emphatic word.
Yes.
Yeah.
okay.
That
Well,
doesn't
anyway,
really okay.
what else is going on
In world news.
In world news.
in world news?
I think it's time to address that.
Okay,
Let us address that.
so I just found out today in Russia. I guess there's a website that is sort of posing as a quote unquote game website, I guess, or something. But what they're really doing is it's basically a database of known LGBTQ people in Russia and activists, and it's encouraging people to go out and literally kill these people. And actually, it's sort of, I guess Saul is in the name of the title of the website.
Yes.
So it's in sort of a Saul style
Mhm.
kill and
Oh
torture.
my
type
god.
Wow, that's
Torture.
even worse.
Mhm.
thing. Yes.
Yeah.
And I
100%.
guess either today or yesterday, I guess a major activist or an activist, a lesbian. She's 41. She was stabbed brutally and strangled outside her home and just thrown into the bushes.
Mhm.
What the fuck?
Because guess what? This is what people do.
This is fucked up.
This is the most fucked up.
Actually,
thing
you know,
on the
in my
planet.
in my
Well, that
story,
segues into, or like, plays into what we were just talking about before the break, and I won't rehatch all of that, but like, those are the people that were bleeding into our system. You know, their
Yeah.
politics.
Yeah, exactly. Bleeding their politics into our system to the point where now I'm about to say literal. I cannot believe I'm about to say this. Oh my gosh.
We are literally.
I know. But I stopped myself.
Literally.
And this is what's bleeding into our politics. The thing is that I'm a little worried because at one point, young people were on the side of gays and lesbians. And those numbers have dropped now. They went from...
what?
Yes, they went from 66% to 43% or 32%.
I don't remember
In
the
the
exact
US or
number.
what?
In the
this
US.
country, yeah.
And young people are
That's
the people...
terrifying.
Yeah, that's terrifying
I think
because
it's
young
millennial
people are
support.
the millennial support. And these are heterosexual millennials who are saying, hey... at one point, they were saying, hey, we're okay with you coming out. We're okay with all this other stuff and blah, 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 blah. Now they're saying that, we might be a little uncomfortable with that.
And I think that
And they're actually saying, well, I don't know if I like the idea of someone in my family coming out.
Where you get? I've never heard. This.
Really?
Yeah, those
Where you
statistics
get
are
Because
real.
I read something recently where they were saying that, my generation, which is the millennial, is we're apparently the least racist, the least homophobic, and the least
But
whatever
that-
generation.
that
ever.
is true.
That's what they were
That's
saying.
not saying- that's not saying much, though, right?
Is coming of age.
Mhm.
But they are of age now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're coming
Could
of
that just
age.
be a new generation now? That has
Are
different
you-
views.
Maybe
I'm-
Generation Z?
Or
is it millennial?
No, it's millennials.
It's millennials,
And I'm
that
a
sounds
little
steady.
worried because
Interesting.
young people have always been the most progressive people, and to wonder if they're changing their mind because of the administration that we're under, because of the mood that
And
we're
also
under in
the
this
effect of
country.
social-
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think social media kind of had a double effect. Like one is it exposes people to more things, and we became more
Right.
open to things. But
Right, 'cause
now
we're showing
we're
us
all in these
proud and
chambers,
whatnot, and now all the
now
real-
it's encouraging us to be more extreme in our views.
Right. And
Well,
now,
I think with social media, though, you could kind of create your own echo chamber.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you look at my social media, look at my Facebook, it's everything I agree with and nothing that I don't. So,
And there's also this big hype, I think, now to battle against inclusivity for some reason. Like when I see diversity and certain things like that, there's always this group over here that are saying, well, why are we diversifying? Why do we need trans people here? Or why do we need blacks here? Or why do we need this? It's like this group that has to thrive on battling, making diverse things
Right.
happen. And so I've been seeing that a lot more lately too. It's like people don't like change.
But
They don't
I
like
will,
that things are
I will say this.
some people.
I love the idea.
If change is going to cause them to lose things. 'Cause they
I
have-
love the idea
Status quo.
of the fact that there's the changes are happening, and I love the idea that I love hearing when people go, "Oh, I don't like the idea of you turning this character into this person
Yep.
and blah 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 blah
All
blah."
that stuff.
And I'm like, but actually you do, because Marvel has already been doing that, and a lot of other studios have been doing that. And I'm a big comic book nerd, but I think we had this conversation on a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about Ariel and the fact that she will be live action, will
I don't
be
wanna
played
talk
by
about
a young black woman, and the idea that everybody lost their mind. And look, I watched A Little Mermaid,
And now
because
007.
We're not gonna go
they
back
did the
to
same
that.
thing.
did they do 007 yet?
I-
Did they cast him?
she's a female.
It's going to be a woman.
Oh,
And
okay.
However,
Wait,
no.
Yeah.
Hold on, everybody
I
slow
disagree.
down.
Hold on,
Everybody slow down.
007 is a female, not James Bond.
Yes.
Right.
James Bond will still be
007.
James Bond.
Right,
Yes.
007 is a female.
007 will be
agent,
played
yeah.
by...
Is her name Jane
Doe?
Band?
I don't remember the, I don't
I
Jane
don't remember the
I don't
name.
remember the name.
But
He's messing with the name.
Jamie?
Steering guitar.
Jamie
I
Bond.
didn't catch
I didn't
joke.
catch that.
but the fact of the matter is that people lost their minds. They're like, oh, so we're going to have a black female as the new James Bond. And it's like, no,
She's
that's
Wait.
that's not how the movie's working. And if you really read the article, that's not how it's working.
Yeah.
What it's working as is the fact that the plot of the movie is that for some reason he lost his 007 status.
Well, he lost to Inspector.
And he is being replaced by a black woman. And
Oh, people aren't gonna like that.
no, but he's still James Bond.
Got it.
That does not go
Daniel-
away.
And he's
Daniel Craig
still-
is still
he's
James
still
Bond?
in the. I don't know. I don't know if it's him or not.
Yeah, no, it's still Daniel Craig.
Really? He's gotten
Wait.
more Bond movies than any other Bond.
I don't know.
No, it's still Daniel Craig.
How do you guys feel about the whole social justice warrior thing going on in movies?
What do you
know
mean?
I'm talking
Like, what do you mean?
Like sort of on the subject of what we're talking about. A lot of famous roles are being replaced with women. A lot of movies now, a lot of the themes are sort of like of a social justice. I'm not sure what social justice warrior really means, but it's kind of like they're sort of promoting women's.
They're promoting diversity.
No, not diversity, but sort of diversity. Sort of women are so good at all these things, but they're not really giving them. It's not. There's not really any basis for them to be this good. Like they're switching. You haven't heard social justice warrior before?
I use
Well, yes, I've heard somebody use that term, but it's usually in a negative connotation.
Yes,
it's
it's a negative
it's a
connotation.
Yeah, but
Like
I think
Mary,
what-
Captain Marvel is sort of like a Mary Sue because all of a sudden she gets all these powers and she actually doesn't have.
I thought Miss
She
Marvel
doesn't have
did
to
have a lot of power.
overcome. She doesn't really have to overcome anything. She just has all these. Oh, actually, Star Wars is the best one.
Okay.
right, just suddenly
what's her-
throwing
what's her
a
name?
female
Ray, Daisy Ridley.
Wait,
yes,
like a lot of people are angry at Star Wars because the new Star Wars trilogy
the new Jedi.
it brings up all these social justice warrior themes.
Well, put it into perspective.
Well, they
because
also- This is also, and this is what really gets me about Star Wars. The fact of the matter is that your lead character is a woman, and a stormtrooper is black, which everybody lost their minds over. Now I don't understand. You don't know who these people are under these masks.
Exactly. It's the first time you've ever actually seen a stormtrooper
Yeah,
out of
exactly.
uniform.
So
like,
the first
they
time
don't
that a
even have a
stormtrooper
race.
takes his mask off and he's black,
necessarily.
every Star Wars fan lost their mind and went, well, "No, black people as stormtroopers? No, they don't exist."
Really? But the Clone Wars.
How is that
He's a
I actually, when I was growing
He's
up,
a
I didn't realize
Hispanic
they were
guy.
actual people. I thought they were like
Right.
Mhm.
He's actually
Robots or something.
a Hispanic guy.
what?
He's a Hispanic guy.
In the Clone Wars.
So he's not. Yeah. So he's not even. Well, no. They use him. That's what the Clone Wars is all about.
Right,
You
yeah.
go back in the thing and like he is Boba Fett is what every stormtrooper is supposed to. Every stormtrooper is a clone of Boba Fett.
Right, yeah. So
And
wait,
so, it's like, he wasn't even a white guy. So what's the outrage that now they quit using clones in the future because they destroyed all of that? It's like, why couldn't it be a black person? Like, they don't have, like...
I think it's outrageous. I'm sorry. I think the outrage is coming from basically from the root of how this country started and how many other countries started. It started with these things never being able to happen. Women
Right.
being in lead roles, black people being characters, Latino people being characters. So, from the very beginning of, movies and the start of it all in Hollywood, these roles went to certain people that look a certain way.
Right.
All the time.
And now they're creating
And so
milestones
now-
by throwing...
They're trying to say, hey, we can insert this character in here. We can change this character here. Because
But a lot of
obviously
people are
things have changed because, this isn't just a white country. Like, this isn't just a straight country. Like,
Right.
you can have gay characters. You can have other color characters. It's okay.
for
Because
sure, yeah.
100 years ago, people probably would have, burned the movie theater down if a woman was the lead role.
I think that's awesome. I think a lot of people who
So
are
I don't think
angry
that
about
it's a
this
bad
movement
thing
are
for
like
changing things.
there's a trend to where women are placed on this pedestal where they can do anything and they don't actually have to work for it. But men are always lampoons.
Right.
And so when you see actually
What do you mean? They have to work for it? I was trying to get what you meant about not having to work for it.
when you see Stranger Things, a lot of people feel like
Okay.
Stranger Things 3, they introduced social warrior, social justice warrior ideology because now there's these women who are. I'm all about women being in strong roles. I love
Right.
it. Fucking
I love it
Aliens,
too.
It's just
Little
that people-
Mermaid, and Showgirls are my favorite 3 movies. I love strong women that
Right.
might be whores.
It's just them using that as a platform to say
All
it's the
these
same as
women-
everyone gets a
these
trophy,
women are
and it's
raised
not.
up. They have no weaknesses. They know how to do everything, and all the men in their life are buffoons. And I think a lot of people are angry that that's happening.
because now they're playing the damsels in distress.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say, because look at how long movies portrayed women as these dainty
Look
little
at how long they
fragile,
buffooned women.
Yeah,
fragile little things that needed
Right.
to be saved by men. You know, it's like,
Right.
oh,
Right.
I'm so dumb, and you're here to save me. You know, it's like,
I think it's fantastic. Honestly,
I
think it's
love
great.
It's
love
cool.
the idea of being able look at
because it was a lie that was perpetuated for hundreds of years. Like they told women
Sure.
for so long that you were too dumb
Mhm.
or too weak to do these things,
Mhm.
whether it's college or movies, whatever.
And then
they were told
influenced
that,
how men
and now
treated
it's
women.
changed. Yeah.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
and so since women have risen up and like taken back
their worth.
their ability to be an actual human being and have the exact same capabilities as any man. I mean,
I
yeah.
think you can write a narrative though to where a strong woman is organically any strong character is organically introduced into the story, and you're not introducing someone into the story who doesn't
deliberately
really fit.
right.
And I think that's really
Right. Are they forcing it, or are we just being sensitive about this whole like everyone gets a trophy thing with kids and applying that
No.
to
No.
this
And
principle in movies?
really want to.
Right.
I really
Right.
want to put that in perspective. I feel like that there's always a fight between millennials and baby boomers, and
Yeah.
then I'm like, wait a minute.
Is there?
But David and I are in the middle.
well. Wait, I'm
we're in
fucking
the middle.
X, bitch.
Yeah, we're in the middle.
Everybody forgets about Generation X.
Yes.
Guess who's in it?
Every news article, everything is about baby boomers,
Yep.
and millennials
Baby
are this,
boomers.
and millennials think baby boomers are that, and I'm like, wait a minute.
I think you're both that.
Baby boomers are my parents, and millennials are my children.
If we're
And yet
actually-
we get left out of the conversation
because we're like-
because they argue with each other so much that we get left out of the conversation. And by the way, that's between this guy, and this guy. Oh, I'm sorry, we're on the air. That's between Chris, Joel, and David. If we had kids, if we were like
That'll never
heterosexual,
No.
we had grown ass kids, they would be millennials.
Or adopted.
They would be
Yeah.
millennials. Our parents would be baby boomers. And the fight is always between our kids and our parents.
But X
And I'm like,
generation, what is our
why?
ideology? We don't really have one. There's more.
No, we don't.
Because
There's
the
more
baby
baby
boomers
boomers
were
and-
so busy,
Mhm.
setting the
Well,
you
stage.
guys
I think our
started.
ideology is pop culture and pop like movies.
You know what I love?
We don't
You know-
have any wars that we protested. We don't have.
Right.
Mhm. But you know what I love? I love being able to talk to people in our age group who are like, oh, millennials, they got it so good and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like,
Please,
but
bitch.
you raised them that way.
Right? I love that.
You raised them that way. That's what you did. We're all of the same age. If I had a kid the same age as your kid, we raised them that, oh, you don't have to go out and mow the yard.
Like-
I can find.
I'd rather
find
be
someone
raised by a baby boomer than the
Mhm.
next gen.
Mhm.
But I don't see what's wrong with like the newer generation getting things better than what you had.
Exactly.
Because I'm actually happy that Generation Z is going to have a better future
Mhm.
than my generation, because they are coming in
Mhm.
to something a lot more inclusive for gay people.
And I think,
in my opinion.
and I think that
Actually, there's this theory that there's a cycle every 4 generations, like something. Right?
Because I would hate for them to have to go
Mhm.
through what you guys went through, because like in the 80s, like you watch these shows like Pose and
Right.
these other things, and you see what happened. And I was born 1990, so it's like I cannot believe that that's how gay people were treated. I couldn't believe it when I was watching it,
Right.
and it's ridiculous. So I'm glad that I'm not going to be one of those people that says like, oh, well, you guys get it all like this,
Right,
and
I'm part of
had
the
to-
generation that's responsible
and
for
we
that.
had to suffer, and so that's not fair. Like, I think it's great that you don't have to suffer. Like, why
For
would I
sure.
want the next generation to suffer?
no,
I
100%,
want
yeah.
you to be good. I want you to be happy. I want you to have those opportunities that we didn't have.
But you know what?
I
Yes,
mean?
but the
But
fact
I-
that you don't have to struggle.
But it seems like some
struggling
people
against
resent,
an adversary molds you into a more sharper,
And that's different than
better
earning.
human being in a way.
That's different than
But
earning.
everybody's
by their
gonna
way.
have. Everybody's gonna have something.
Yeah,
Right.
but
You
I
know,
think,
they're going against.
and I honestly think, and I don't know if you agree with this, so I'm just going to say this out here. I think that between me and David, our generation, I look at your
And
generation
yours.
with all the stuff that you guys are doing, and I think it's fantastic.
But
I
we
think
wouldn't be
it's-
able to do it without you guys.
No,
paving
no,
the
no.
way, you know what I
No.
mean? Like,
It's not that. It's
But they-
Yeah, you own
But
it.
y'all
bitch.
did.
You own
No.
it.
It's not that. I think what has happened is the fact that all the stuff that you guys are doing, we were already doing
Okay,
it.
I'm your generation, so why are you?
But because hold on, but because AIDS got in the way, we weren't able to fully develop it. And we might be, and honestly, when I talk to people in my age group from 40 on up, when I talk to people in our age group, before us, there were our forefathers
and four mothers.
and foremothers who did the whole thing. They came out, they did their thing, they striked in the streets, they were starting a revolution. Things were starting to come together. Things were starting to come together. And then when we were just about to hit the world and do the same thing and be better, AIDS came around. And AIDS ruined our generation.
Are you talking about the gay generation or just our generation?
No. Our
I mean,
generation,
the
gay people of our generation.
Yeah. Right.
AIDS ruined our generation. Yeah. We were just starting to understand androgyny. We were just starting to understand.
See, I saw that.
80s music was
The best.
It was the best, but 80s music was hitting on themes of
outfits too.
Hitting on themes of
85.
androgyny, being out and gay, all that other stuff. 80s music was about that, and we were starting to come into our own. And then guess what happened? AIDS comes around and completely
Dude, it
ruined.
decimated.
You know that shaped my
Yeah.
life. I don't think a lot of people realize like
Mhm.
the impact that had on people that it even that it didn't affect personally.
Right,
But,
exactly.
but one of the first documentaries that I saw when I was 13 years old, was about AIDS and everything that happened, and I was just like, it terrified me. I didn't even want to be with a man because I was so scared.
Can you imagine what
You
we
know,
went through?
I can't imagine at all.
We went.
You know, 'cause
David
it was
and I
it was real for you guys.
went to a funeral at least once a month.
Or-
Wow.
A week.
Once
For a
week.
long time. I was going once
we
a
were
week.
going to funerals all the time. We had just started to come out and be ourselves, and then and our whole culture was starting to come out. Everything that you guys are going, I think the funny thing is that a lot of people don't realize this, and I've said this before. I think we are a little angry and maybe a little bit envious of the fact that you guys are experiencing all the things that we were just starting.
And we talked about that during.
We were just starting to
talk.
talk about the idea of gender roles. We were starting to talk about trans stuff. We were starting
But
to
you
talk
guys have
about-
to look at it as you paved the
Yeah.
way. It wouldn't have happened if
Yeah,
you guys
but-
didn't start it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
you know?
we were starting to start that conversation.
Right.
I think our biggest thing is the fact that I don't think that if AIDS hadn't been here, we would not be having this conversation. I think that I would not be looking at a news article where I'm seeing another transgender person being killed again.
Yeah.
Well,
Another
there's no
or
telling that.
the fact
I don't know. I think
the fact that we're talking about non-binary and all this other stuff because we were already starting to do that. All that stuff we were starting to do, and then AIDS got in the way, and AIDS ruined
But
our generation.
I think the way to really look at that and kind of save yourself the anger in that and the resentment of the generation is like your generation was strong enough to bolster and break through the barrier to start that.
Because we had to survive.
Well, and we should.
Yeah,
well, no,
we had to live. We had to
but
survive.
no, before AIDS, I'm talking about these social movements that got started with your generation. You guys were the generation after the wars and that. And the first one that got to be at home and like stay at home. And you guys were still raised as good enough stock and strong enough stock to bear the burden of having to pierce that veil. And our and yes, it got interrupted. But I don't know if I have as much faith in my generation to have been strong enough. If it wasn't a torch to pick up and relight and carry, that anyone would have lit it in the first place. So that is my
thank you
ode
for
to
that.
you all
And I feel like that
for being strong enough to do that and start.
And I look at it as
I feel like
you should be proud that
yeah,
your progress
and I am.
wasn't
And,
halted.
yeah, exactly.
It kept going.
And I feel like that because of our generation, because of what a disease did to our generation, we had to spend so much time fighting that disease. We had to spend a lot of time fighting that disease that we weren't able to grow culturally as we would like to have. Because if we could have, we wouldn't be having these discussions right now.
I think that one thing what you're trying to talk about is like when you say we had to fight the disease, it wasn't a matter of finding the pill that worked. It was also a social aspect of it.
Yeah,
So you remember
exactly.
ACT UP was a big deal back then, and
And AZT was
right. So
Yeah,
we had to
exactly.
just like take a detour. You know, we had to take a detour
And
Yeah.
you guys were
So-
also strong enough to stop those things and take care of one another.
Mhm.
And you
Yeah,
showed
exactly.
as much as a community to take care of one another, and that being your primary concern. And there was enough humanity in all of you
Yeah.
to stop the social movements
Mm-hmm.
in order to do so and regrow and regroup. And,
Yeah, because the government didn't even have y'all's
Yeah,
back.
exactly. The government
Right.
had.
no,
Like
Everything-
it was like
everything
everything
that-
was on you guys to do it yourself.
I will say this: everything that
Sad.
every medicine that you take, everything that you do to prevent HIV, we fought for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because the government did nothing. They
ACT
literally
was the
was going
first
to
one,
watch
right?
us die,
and I mean, it
and they were okay with
didn't
that.
necessarily do
And it
more
took a
good
lot
than
of
it harmed.
it
The
took a
first one.
lot of people to band in the streets to do that,
Yeah.
so that HIV would be. And
At
by the
least
way,
talked about.
we're almost to the point where
Recognized as a
they're going to do
epidemic
tests
is-
on humans for a vaccine. So we're to that point. We were told that there would never be a cure, but we fought so hard. Now we're close to it,
Right?
well, funny.
and now we're living in the
I don't
age-
think a vaccine is not the same as a cure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I will agree with that. But at the same time, I think that now we've reached a point where people who do have HIV can live normal lives.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
They don't
Definitely.
spread the disease anymore. There are enough medications to take care of it, and we've made sure that those medications, we did all that work.
Which is
But
why
at the
people
same
do,
ti-
you need to know your status,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
get tested,
Get tested.
so that you can get treated, so that you do not
Don't get spread.
cause
exactly.
any kind of spread.
So-
Sorry, I had to.
But,
No, yeah,
at,
good.
but at the same
Good.
time, we felt kind of bad because we were starting a revolution, and socially, we were starting a revolution where gay was about to be accepted.
And it didn't end.
I don't think you
And-
should
Still
feel
going.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you should feel bad. I think you
Just
should
band
change your
together,
perspective and
you
look at
know.
it as
Yeah,
our
exactly.
progress
And
never
there's
stops.
value that you guys have in having started that revolution. That you know that people have given up. Like, oh well, you know that was my generation. I got stuck doing that. We got interrupted. This is for the kids nowadays, and it's not. It's for every single person affected by that movement. And I mean, and that's what it is. This is the civil rights movement of our generations. You know, because we haven't resolved it. A movement isn't over until you get some kind of
Yeah,
outcome and
exactly.
resolution. Be it we win, we lose.
Yeah.
The movement isn't over until you
But
know
it's really-
we say so or they say
because
so.
the Equality Act, things like that are still in the
Mhm.
like it passed the House, but it's not even
Mhm.
being voted on the Senate yet. That is when we will truly have like equal rights
Mhm.
in this country because we still don't have it.
Right.
everywhere.
And now
We
I'm
don't.
loving the fact that you guys who are younger than us,
Right.
Are now
30
picking
something,
I'm
who are
20 something.
who are picking up the mantle and going, okay, so we need to fight transphobia, we need to fight racism, we need to fight sexism.
Yep.
This is what we need if we're going to
Yes.
be
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you guys are now picking that fight up.
100%.
Yeah.
Our generation had to just be able to make sure that we can survive. That
Yeah.
was our generation. And we had to make sure that we helped you guys survive.
Mission accomplished.
And we did that. But
for the most part.
but I
We
think
lost
for
a lot.
the,
We lost a
Your
lot of
generation
friends.
survived.
We lost
but
a lot of friends.
Yeah, but I think for the most part, we did suffer a little bit because we missed out on the social aspects of it. And you guys are enjoying the social aspects of it, and we kind of feel like we missed out on that. And if we hadn't spent so much time trying to make sure that we stay well enough to get to this point, we would have enjoyed like I said, the generation before us spent so much time trying to make sure that homosexuality was accepted. And then we were just about to get to the point where we can now we can enjoy the social aspects of it. We weren't able to do that.
Right.
because
I mean,
the
there's nothing we
disease
can
got
do
enough-
now
Yeah.
except pay respect to that and,
Yeah,
move,
exactly.
and keep
So-
it moving forward.
So I think it's a great thing that now the kids are picking up on the ideas of, wait, there's too much division in the gay community. How do we fix this?
I think we can
how-
fix it by banding together.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Still going forward. You know,
As a black
instead
person,
of
I would like
us
to.
separating.
I would love to do away with the idea of separate prides. I would love to do away with that.
Separate price.
Galveston, they have that black people. What's it called? Black
Black
Pride.
pride.
Wait,
Black
But they
Pride?
call it
They do?
splash. They call it.
Oh,
Is Splash? I thought that was something totally
Yeah.
different.
They do, and that has been a tradition
That's
in the
separate
gay.
from Austin Splash.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
been a tradition in the gay community in Texas for a long time, and I would love to see that done.
It's usually in
Yeah.
Galveston. Usually.
Well, that's a big.
I
topic
felt the
to talk
same.
about.
I felt the same way about the Woodlands
But
Pride.
I feel like that. I feel that's going to happen. I
Oh, yeah.
feel like when we on the last episode, these two talked about.
these two. Me and
I'm
you.
sorry. Talked about
What do you mean these two?
the Gay Pride committee, and talked about why that doesn't work.
The decision-making power.
The decision-making
and
power
why
and
it's
everything,
only like
and why
three
it's only
people.
ruled
Right.
by a certain amount of people. And the fact that I love the fact that that conversation is happening
Right.
means that there's going to be a diversification on how to do this. You have to have different people who are gay to participate in this. It
Right.
makes it better.
That's what diversity is.
Diversity
yeah,
is.
there's
And
that
I
whole
think that the gay
constitutional-
community is always
A
the
lesbian,
last.
like
Right.
all of it.
Yeah.
The house divided
You
cannot
need those-
Yeah,
stand.
it cannot stand. So
You know,
to
it's-
see, I would love to see that. I would love
An
to see
American
that committee
principle.
open up to not just 3 people, but to
Right, and maybe it is for Pride
10,
Houston. Pride Houston's
Have a trans person,
You
have a
know,
lesbian person.
committee
Mhm.
to reach out to the Splash
Mhm.
committee and get their board people on board with Pride Houston, and these people who are now starting to organize the Woodlands Pride, which is another separate Pride celebration, and get those people on.
And let's not forget about straight pride.
let's forget about.
Let's forget about straight
Let's
pride.
forget-
Stop trying to make.
Oh no,
straight
that's
pride happen.
Boston.
Next month, I
That's
think.
Boston, August 1st, and look. Every company that they've
Boston.
tried to put under their banner has literally told them, "Fuck you, no."
You
I
can
don't
literally-
really know.
You can't lose our
Literally.
logo.
It might be just
And
them
Milo,
and
you're a
Chick-fil-A.
disgrace.
It might be just them and Chick-fil-A.
Just
That's
I
I
had to
don't
get
think
that out
Chick-fil-A
there.
is in Boston, is it?
Chick-fil-A is everywhere.
Chick-fil-A is
It's not in
everywhere.
No,
Detroit.
it's not.
It's not. It's not in the Midwest
not.
at all.
Mhm.
Wow.
It might be East Coast,
Well,
but
they-
I could see some asshole from Chick-fil-A seeing that straight pride was going to happen, like flying out to meet these assholes and like
I don't
Bringing their
understand
Chick-fil-A cows
bring
with
the
them.
fucking cow in the parade. I could see it.
So it might be just them and Chick-fil-A. And by the way, you gays, if you're still eating that Chick-fil-A,
Can I just say Chick-fil-A sucks in general?
I know.
No,
Really not that good.
Okay, I
Those
was
fries-
I
those
got
fries are
a
a joke.
non-gluten
I don't get it.
bun. They charged me like $2 more, and it was
Yeah.
in this plastic package. And the
You had to put
chicken's
your own
just
sandwich
like
together?
Something you can buy at Walmart, and just
Yeah,
I don't know. Get it.
It's the
Wait, you're shopping at
saltiest
Walmart?
piece-
But
You're shopping at Walmart?
I
We
love
don't
Walmart.
shop. We don't shop there either.
Oh, I shop at Walmart.
Target.
We
No,
shop
I
at
fucking
Target.
hate Target.
We don't shop at Walmart. The Walmart family doesn't like us either.
Wally World.
I know I should be better, but I don't like Target.
They're a terrible game.
Aesthetically, when I go in Target, I feel like
You're just seeing red, huh?
yes.
Blue calms him. The Walmart blue is calming.
Yes.
Blue has a calming effect on people.
Literally.
What's wrong with Target
You
Red?
don't
y'all?
walk
That's
into
what I
the
shop
doctor's
at.
office.
I
and
love
it's all
Mars Red.
The reason I like Target is anytime I go in there, they never have what I want. Literally.
Why don't you just change what you want then?
Literally.
You literally
No,
just
I
said literally.
never, I go in there, I'm like, I'm not going to find what I want. I never do.
Oh,
I go into Walmart
so it's a
right
manifest. It's a manifest destiny situation.
Okay,
away.
so
You think so?
I will tell you the difference between
Literally.
If it's self-fulfilling
Literally.
prophecy, is that what you're saying?
Mhm. I will tell you the
Either
difference
way.
between walking in Walmart and walking in Target.
Well, Walmart's interesting.
When I
Stimulating.
walk
Really?
into Target,
Oof.
when I walk into Target, I see
A bunch of basic.
Sexy
Upper-middle-class boy.
round cashiers,
in super tight jeans,
Round.
tight
with
khakis,
nice bulges,
bulges. Like they encourage it.
Actually, I will give that to
and
you.
that kind of, yeah.
Yeah, the cashiers at Walmart are so fucking stupid.
And slow.
Mhm.
But I don't use the cashiers. I use the self-checkout.
Although David and I do have the most amazing Walmart story ever.
Does it involve sex?
No, it does not involve sex. It involves us being in a Walmart line.
It has me.
We
in
were
it.
in Walmart,
I'm not in sex.
and we were. I don't remember. I think I was buying. I think you were
Is it
buying
hear me?
something, or I was buying something. I can't remember. And we're standing in
Shut up,
line,
Walmart.
and we're standing behind this old lady, and the cashier goes, and she is writing a check, and the cashier goes, "I need to see your ID," and the lady goes, "I'm sorry, I'm white. I don't need to show my
What?
ID."
Wait, what? When was this?
Mhm. Oh, this was a long
It
time.
had to be.
Yeah.
I don't shop
Yeah.
at Walmart now,
Yeah.
so it had to be.
That was the
long ass time
last. By the way, that was the last time you shopped.
Probably
You
was.
said those
Actually,
words. I'm never coming back here
I
again.
will at Walmart. The funny thing is,
Mhm.
because they have people when you walk out, they have people that check your
Your
receipt.
receipt.
Yeah.
I never
They
checked.
never check your receipt.
Mhm.
They
Never
check
did.
every night.
I even tried to like hand them my receipt, and they're like, "It's fine.
Why?
Go ahead."
Mhm.
Yeah.
But the lady,
Yeah,
I know. But the lady,
White
but the lady who
Enjoy
was
it.
the lady who was behind the
My bag was filled with
behind
stuff
the
I didn't
counter.
pay for.
She is also white. She's like, I'm sorry, ma'am, but we do that for everyone.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right.
And this woman and David went, I can't believe this bitch. I'm like, yes, she did.
I would be in awe.
Yes,
I would be like-
she did.
Yes, she did.
If I was standing
First of all,
behind her,
first of all, she's writing a check.
She's
Let's just
writing
get that out of the way
a check.
first.
And in the age
Does
of
that?
everybody does a debit card. This bitch is writing
Right.
a check. And she has a nerve
Did she
enough
get her
to tell the
ID out?
cashier. No. Oh, no, she did. Because she was
I was gonna
forced
say,
to.
somebody
Because the
else's
woman said
checkbook.
that I'm not going to take your check without an ID.
That's a white
Good for
person
her.
thing to do.
Mhm.
Good for that cashier.
Mm-hmm. And then when she talked to us and she went, I'm so sorry for that. And I'm like, why?
You should be
were
sorry
just
for that
doing your
bitch,
job.
thinking you're above.
How the hell do you think that you,
Oh,
as a
the
white
cashier.
woman,
That's a Houston thing.
mhm.
Was it in Houston?
Yes, it was in Houston. But that was a
There's a
while
lot
ago.
more white privilege in the South, I
Yeah,
feel,
yeah.
than there is where I'm from in the Midwest.
Mhm.
Because we're kind of, it's either split 50-50 or it's far less a majority
Right.
Anglo-Saxon, I will say, than Afro in background. So I don't encounter it as much. It was like you never think, like, especially in Detroit. Like, Detroit is super.
Detroit, LA,
Detroit.
San Antonio.
Shout out to Detroit. I think.
Shout out to this commercial break.
Oh!
Yeah, how about
Oh,
that?
what a segue. Good
How
job.
about that? How about
I'm
that?
pretty specific.
Are you counting to 4? Oh wait,
Penis.
we're back.
Penis.
Penises everywhere. And everyone's got penis in
God
their
damn
mouth.
it.
It's like
God damn.
it's like one of those gay parties where everyone's got
Hey,
a
do
penis
they
in their
have
mouth.
penis crackers?
Okay, goddamn it, we're back. These bitches don't
Goddamn.
even know how to lead this back in. We're back.
Beep, beep,
And we're gonna spend the last 24 minutes talking about race in the gay community.
isms in the
Wait.
gay community.
Are we talking about isms?
Isms?
Are we
Race.
talking about isms or are we just talking about race-isms?
No, just race in the gay community.
Okay.
So, what do we do from here to have that conversation? Because I feel like this conversation is very important. And with 2 African American guys at the table and 3 white guys, let's talk
Well,
about
I'm
it.
I'm
Italian.
actually from Africa as well.
Everybody's
Everybody.
from the motherland.
I'm from
Okay.
somewhere in Europe.
So we had 3
Wait, I'm
Africans,
Italian.
an Italian, and an Anglo-Saxon.
Mm-hmm.
Which race are we talking about? What's going on? Which,
I think it goes back to what
Racism.
you guys were talking about
Which racism?
earlier with the whole splash thing, like being separate from the Houston Pride. I think there's always been this kind of, and you can even go back to, like we could talk about like historically black colleges. There's this, these things were created out of necessity because once upon a time they weren't allowed to join in with the rest of the crowd. So black colleges were created because they couldn't go to white colleges. The splash black pride thing, they probably created that because they didn't feel included in the white gay community.
Right.
And
Good
so
point.
it may not be as bad as it was, 40 years ago or 30 years ago when they created it, but that is why it started. And I think people really need to talk about, okay, why did it start and have we improved
Enough
since
to put that gauntlet down.
exactly
Right.
to say like, hey, you guys should come over and join our pride and cancel your own because you don't need to do that anymore. But some people still feel like they need to do that because some people don't feel included. I've always felt, all my friends are so diverse. Like I've never had a problem with meeting and becoming friends, dating whoever. It doesn't matter. But there are some people that feel like, and we're not, and this is something that's within the black community where there's even colorism that goes on because I haven't had that issue, but I'm a more, I've met darker skinned black people that have told me they experience things that I probably won't experience because I'm a more lighter skinned one. And so it's very, weird. And then there's black people that are lighter than me that say that they experience a completely different thing when they try to date outside of the race.
Mhm.
So it's so complex because this country was founded on racism, so it's embedded
Mhm.
in our systems, all of us. Not saying that we're all racist, but
Even things
but
we
I'm
don't
saying
realize are racist.
the topic of racism, it's ingrained in our culture in this country. So it's one of those things that no matter if you're straight, gay, whatever, it's probably going to affect us in some type of way.
So,
and
I have to say that I haven't really ever.
I really do want to ask this question simply because I think that it's an important question. Can we fix that? Because I have experienced colorism too on a certain level. Going to Louisiana, having to deal with
from other gay people.
no
Other black
from
people?
or the black people.
from other black people.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
literally
Yeah.
there's one experience where I was standing in the grocery line and I was told to move to the front of the line because the people in front of me were of a darker color, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm literally in the middle, so I don't even know what that means.
Wait, when was this?
Oh, this was a while ago.
Yeah.
And it's something that has been going on in the black community
Yeah.
for quite some time.
And it's not just the black one. It's in the Latino community.
Mhm.
Some of them, if they have more Spaniard features,
Mhm.
they're highly regarded.
And
if they don't look
Well, I'm curious,
dark
like, the funny
skinned,
thing is-
so it's
And the funny thing is,
It's
is that
sad.
I've
It's in every
discovered
culture.
this within the Asian and
Asian
Indian
community as well.
community. Being
I'm curious, though,
darker
what you
is a
experience
bad thing, and
in
I don't
Asia.
know why that's
like
that's a
Vietnamese
thing.
people, they're treated differently than Japanese
Mhm.
because they're more white skinned.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So it's very interesting how in every single race, but it all goes back to, I guess what's
a sense of
what's
purity.
been ingrained.
Mhm.
But
And
you
what
guys
was
are
taught
talking
a long
about
time
just
ago.
in community, society in general.
Right.
Society
Not
in
Bring it
general.
down to the gay community,
Yeah.
which
Right.
is what I'm curious about. Because I personally have never.
What we-
I haven't experienced racism towards me, but I've never experienced a friend. I've never literally seen someone someone be racist to them within the gay community. So
That's
I'm not
amazing.
saying it doesn't exist. I know it exists. I'm just curious what you guys have experienced or how it exhibits itself. Because I've never really experienced it.
I mean,
I
is
will-
it
I
in
will
the same
say-
way or different ways than it does regular culture? You know, like
I will say that there have been several occasions where I have been in situations where I was the only black person among a bunch of my white gay friends, and this situation is actually quite familiar. This situation is actually quite cute, or whatever. I don't even know if it's cute, but the fact of the matter is that I went with Randy to Michael's Outpost. I was sitting there, and I made the comment at the fact that I saw two people who looked Fellini-esque.
Looks
And-
what?
Fellini, who is a major director from the 50s or so.
Oh,
Yes.
right.
And
Gotcha.
I made that comment, and they were like, "Oh, I didn't expect a black person to understand that."
mm,
And I went, "Whoa,
What?
Oh god,
That's
yeah.
fucked up.
Oh yeah,
that's
Yeah.
a little weird," because and they were like, "Oh, well, we love colored people," and
Alert. I love that one.
I said,
Oldie-
"Wait,
oldie
what?"
Randy,
And they
yeah.
were way older than I was at the time. They were way older than I was at the time.
Yeah.
And I went, "Okay." I literally just, I mean, you're.
So that's like the
Flabbergasted,
completely
just
different
I was
generation.
flabbergasted because
Right.
I'm like, wait a minute, you're coming in here with these super colored suits. I feel like your tans are working.
You've experienced
I know-
discrimination. You should
I know
be aware
that you've
of.
been
Right.
I know
Yeah.
that you've been somewhere where you've gotten super tan,
Yeah.
and I noticed that.
so they
and
made
I
the same
knew that,
reference you did.
and I knew that the way you were dressed, it had to be somewhere in the Mediterranean. So I figured that out, and I said, hey, I feel like that. Hey, what's going on here is working, and everything else. And they were like, wait, I didn't expect a colored person to figure that out. And I'm like, wait.
Oh yeah,
So
and there's
there's
so
that.
many little, little use
Mhm.
like euphemisms that are used like sometimes, and it's not even. I'm basically talking. I know we're talking about race right now, but
Mhm.
even just inclusion with trans people and
Mhm.
other people. Like I've heard comments from gay people that will down them, you know,
Hot trending.
that will
list.
say something, you know, that's really rude about people that are trans. But I mean, to take it to where you said that you haven't seen it recently, but I hear little things. It's not blatant, like that's an N-word over there. It's not like that.
No,
it's always the subtleties of
distinguishing.
like I remember like we were all like going bar walking one time, and you know this is 2 years ago. So and basically like we were shooting out some clubs, like ideas on where we wanted to go. We were like Ripcord, this one, and then somebody said, "Oh no, that club's ghetto," and then it's like, why is it ghetto? Because most of its patrons are not white,
Right.
so it has to be ghetto. You see what I'm saying? And so it's like little things like that it's just kind of like, okay, why does that club have to be ghetto? Why can't it just be fun? And yes, a lot of people of color go
That's actually the
there,
first way I
but
heard
why
that
does it have to
described.
be
Right.
negatively described as
Right,
ghetto?
because
You
I
see what I'm
mean,
saying?
and actually,
Because Eagle isn't, said that South Beach
Right.
isn't
But
ghetto.
literally-
Murder
When they
isn't
first took
ghetto.
me to
you
Crocker,
know?
they were saying, "Do you want to?" It's kind of ghetto. I'm like,
Yes.
right, and part of that is a negative connotation, and,
Yeah.
and people using the word, ghetto in a negative way because
White people
technically it
live in
is
ghettos.
a
Some
ghetto-
white people live there.
Right, no,
So
and-
it's like, why does it have to
ghetto
be
is
associated
actually not anything. It doesn't have any distinguishing. It is just to identify a majority demographic of
Right.
an area, or so technically that's correct. Is the society has and pop culture has attached a negative connotation to ghetto because ghetto first became popular in
Because they never refer to the Jewish
Jewish because
there.
they're primarily Jewish communities. It was a Jewish ghetto. It was a it was a Jewish ghetto.
right.
And yes, they had less means, and so it became became identified and
As ghetto.
attached to ghetto.
Yes.
But like the fact that we have to kind of re-understand ghetto is my biggest issue with you saying that, and it sucks that they've attached that to. But I mean, there are artists and whatnot who are responsible for perpetuating those stereotypes and reformulating the definition for words that don't have any kind. They're not good
That's
or
true.
bad.
That's true too.
Saying something is awesome is not saying it's good. It's just saying that it is awe-inspiring. Hitler was an awesome public speaker because he had the ability to brainwash an entire nation.
Right.
Awesome has no good or bad to it. He was awesome and terrible. He used his awesome talent for, bad. And it's just in the same ghetto. It just uses.
I feel like that I'm going to have to explain that first.
No, I mean,
No. I know what he meant.
Yeah.
And we know what he meant, but I
And
feel
I
like
get all
that-
Because
deep
a
like
lot of
that.
serial killers are
Yeah,
called intelligent.
I can't
But that
believe
doesn't
he
mean that
said
they're
that,
good.
and I'm like,
mean they're smart.
well, he said it as an example of what he was
Of
talking
what
about.
ghetto is.
Yeah.
Like,
So
yeah.
I feel like
And I think it sucks that our generation primarily understands ghetto as poor and rough.
Or like
Versus-
a lot of people of color are congregating.
Right,
in
or
there,
it's just
so
identifies
it's
black.
Yeah. Or
A
Latino.
black demographic,
Yeah.
right? Black or
Yeah.
demographic,
Yeah.
or Latino demographic,
Yeah.
and it's like that's not necessarily true. Like the suburbs, where there's a ton of white people, is technically a white ghetto.
Yeah.
Trailer parks are white ghettos,
But people don't ever,
primarily.
Yeah, but
and that's
people
not.
But they don't refer to
associate-
trailer
Right.
parks
They don't
as ghetto.
associate-
And that is
Yeah.
right, exactly.
So it's
And that's a
just
problem
interesting.
because we don't understand that. We don't get taught that
Mm-hmm.
ghetto has no good or bad connotation. It is, and that part of that is education. Part of that is kids coming up and pop culture being responsible for the things that they say over airwaves and get kids addicted to a certain kind of music and those messages they
Yeah.
send.
It has to do with music and perpetuating long-standing things that have happened
Exactly,
throughout
because
history
we
as
had
well.
educated kids out here. Somebody saying ghetto wouldn't have any effect. We would know, like, and intelligent has. I think education has to do with inclusion and that type of filter on, like, you don't classify people by the color of their skin, etc., which you'd think would be inherent
Yeah,
by
you would
now
think that. Yeah.
for as long as it's been going on.
And like I said, like it wasn't, and like I said, most of the time today, it's not
Exactly.
just as blatant as that in over there. Of course,
Right.
they didn't say
They do it
because there's blacks that go there. It's ghetto.
Exactly.
They didn't say that. They just said, "Oh, that club is,
Right.
ghetto." And
Because
so it's just kind of like
Being shitty like that is
Yeah.
different than being
Exactly.
outright shitty.
no.
And it's like, And
I mean, it's
and smart
shitty,
people know that
but
it's
it's
shitty
like,
of them to act
you
that
know,
way. You know,
as someone that's kind of like majoring what I'm majoring in,
which is
oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't even say it. It's psychology and human resource management. So we go over so many of these kind of things about, okay, what words can trigger certain people, or what, sayings can do certain things, and people aren't that sensitive to those kind of things. And when you kind of bring it up, some people kind of go against it. Like, why do I have to care, about how this makes you feel?
exactly.
And so it's like, you should care because you have to work with these people. Like, you have to do this. And so you see that like so many times, like when we're going over statistics and certain surveys that are taken like in the workplaces right now, like a lot of people don't like certain initiatives that are being started by their jobs about hiring more people of a certain thing or promoting more women or whatever. I think it's kind of like what we talked about earlier.
Right.
Some people don't like when you try to change the status quo, because then it becomes, what are you taking away from me to include this person?
Right.
That's-
The truth is nothing.
Nothing is going to take away from you.
I never understood the resistance
You know what I mean?
to diversity, though, because diversity just improves whatever you're doing. The more
Exactly.
diverse you are, the more
The more perspective you have.
perspective
It just
you have.
enrich. It's it's enriching. And,
So how do we take the word ghetto and make it not sound so?
And
We
own
have
it.
to use it in everyday speech.
I own it.
Own
I
it,
fill that
bitch.
Honda Fit up to the lid with trash.
Because for the longest time, being gay and living in the gay ghetto was what we did.
Right.
Being black and living in a ghetto was what we did.
Right.
Being whatever race or culture that ghetto is actually a word that came from the idea of Jews being in a certain area of
Any
town.
concentrated.
And
What
that
if we
was-
had a fern ghetto? Ah, there you go.
But is ghetto used negatively to describe a culture of bringing a culture into a society?
Right.
Yeah, you got to start using it more.
Okay, let's look it up.
Right.
The dictionary says a part of a city, especially a slum area,
Mm-hmm.
occupied by a minority group or groups.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what.
But the fact
The
of the
word
matter
means.
is
That's from
that
Merriam-Webster.
Merriam-Webster.
Yeah.
when we look at African American culture and see the idea that ghetto culture is a part of our culture, it really is a part of our culture, and it's okay to say that. It really is okay to
Right.
say
On
that.
an educated standard basis, it is literally
it really
a ghetto.
literally
but,
is okay to say that because it is a part of a culture that grew up in
Right.
poor, that kind of thing. The
Mhm.
words, the language, the
Right.
lifestyle, everything is celebrated. When we bring it up and when we take that and bring it up to a certain level, are we saying that culture is now?
I think indifference is the issue there. The fact that we're indifferent about those that the fact that we need to refer to anything as ghetto
Mhm.
by its literal definition,
Yeah.
and we're okay with that, is the problem.
Mhm.
I think being indifferent to a slum in general, if I've got a slum in my community, I promise you I won't feel good about it, but it won't be a place where I want to place the other undesirables from my community and be okay with that being their little area of it.
Yeah.
I want to eliminate that ghetto, period.
So do you think
and,
that
and bring it up to the rest, and because there a lot of ghetto and that is, I mean, they're existing subhumanly, and I don't appreciate that for any human being.
do you think like the word ghetto should be like the G word, so to speak?
No, I think
you wanna go to that
using
level?
it is fine to describe something that is a problem, but eliminating us having to have issues in environments where it's so bad we describe it as a ghetto.
So you
is
look
the
at it as a
actual
bigger
issue.
issue.
I would rather eradicate it from our vocabulary by means of no
Eradicating
longer
it.
needing
Right. I understand.
it than
Bigger
just
picture.
not saying it.
And I think that's what the issue was. Is like, why would you refer to a nice nightclub as
Right.
ghetto?
Just to because
Because
it's
a certain group of
an
people
insult.
don't go in there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
it's used
Yeah,
as an
but
insult
anyway.
in an uneducated way
yeah, exactly.
to just be insulting
Yeah.
because they
So
want to say something
having
they
been-
don't really want to say it.
Having been to said nightclub, I didn't know it was ghetto, but I didn't like it.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
It was
like
yeah,
I
it was
went to
not the place I would want to hang out at.
There was this
I liked
country
it
western
until they started
place.
playing
Like,
Latino music. I mean, I don't want to mix
He
hip-hop
didn't
with
mean
Latino
that.
music.
He didn't mean that.
You
y'all.
can't go from hip hop.
His email address is.
All the hate mail goes to this guy.
You can't go from hip hop to Latino and then back to hip hop.
Yes, you can.
Blur does that all the
You
time.
can do it.
Despacito.
Have you been to Blur?
I haven't. No,
Okay.
I'm
You've never been to Blur?
I'm 44.
I thought that's what we were talking about.
That's where I thought we were.
I thought you were talking about Blur.
Wait, is Blur ghetto?
I don't know if it's
No,
ghetto. I just don't like
doesn't
going there.
exist, Chris, God, this kid is
I
white
just-
privilege.
I
What
didn't,
is Italian
I didn't
privilege?
learn anything from this conversation.
I didn't know Blur was ghetto, but I don't want Blur rather. I didn't like Blur.
Are you saying Crocker's ghetto?
Did I say Crockett
How
ghetto?
dare you?
Oh my goodness, love it.
Anyway.
Okay.
Crocker
so
used to be a bear bar.
Penis.
Okay, so I have one more question that I would like to ask to the round table of Chris, Marcus,
We are around.
Pinky, and David.
Mm-hmm.
Is geek culture a derivative of African American female culture? Or us? Because I feel like that everything that we say, everything that we do in gay culture
There's a parallel.
centers around, first of all, African American women. A lot. I read an article several years ago that I think you and I talked. I think David and I did
I have
talk
a very
about this.
strange
It's
opinion
about
about
the fact
this.
that the words, the terms, everything that we use in gay culture comes from a certain perspective when it comes from African American women.
Like
So what is what is our
Girl.
so
And, you know, all
yeah,
these little-
exactly.
Right.
So what is
So it is
ours and what belongs to African American women when it comes to our culture? Because I think that every time I talk to gay men, especially white gay men, and like I said, I don't mean any harm when I say this.
Mm-hmm.
When I talk to white gay men, we do take from certain sayings, certain things that we do, everything that we do take that a little bit from African American women. So is that a thing that's unique to us?
I think that, like for me, I've always said, and Joel, I've said this 100 times,
Mhm.
that all gay men were big black women in a previous life, and I believe that. I really do. I believe that because it's just like
Well, why do
I think-
we
I think
picture
that- I
them
think,
as
like-
big- why do you picture that as a big black woman?
having spent the last 2 years in a predominantly black town, Baton Rouge. I can say that the big black women were always way more accepting of gay guys than anybody else was.
I think that's a cooperation. I think it's a mutual
yeah.
being put down by the same groups of people.
Yeah, I think so,
because
too.
of black folks, black women are
And
the
you have
most
a lot of
looked
energy
over
that
and
needs to be
oversighted by
And ironically, in a predominantly black family, they're the ones that wear the pants too.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and they still, they're the matriarchs of their
Right.
families, and still being looked past by their white manager,
Right.
In the same way that some princess, Twinkle Toes,
Right.
is being
So
looked past, and so they're in the break room commiserating over the same issues, and they form this
Right.
partnership, and so the culture rubs off on each other, and I think because it is such a strong, boisterous culture, and ours is lacking those kinds of things, that we have adopted so many of them in a way to
I think that there's
they emulate that.
there's
kind
another
of-
side of that too. And I remember when Joel and I have been hanging around with each other for 100 years at least.
older than I am.
Well, yeah. and I remember when we first started hanging out.
Marcus,
that-
you want to say something to this, and I cannot wait to hear what you have to say. So.
Well, I was, there's another side to this too. It's other than the big black women that I remember Joel telling me on many occasions that I'm actually blacker than he is, and so I don't think that has necessarily to do a lot with skin color so much as it has to do with, just
Attitude.
yeah.
They only say that when I dance.
And I did see something like it may have been what you read or something else, but this one lady was taking issue, and she was an African American lady.
Yeah.
She was saying like she feels like when she sees drag queens that they're kind of emulating Big Mamas or or whatever. You know what I mean? Like she said,
Yes.
like ever since the
Yes,
80s,
thank you.
like she was like, I saw RuPaul for the first time. and it felt like he was acting like my mom or acting like my auntie. You know, that
Right.
was and just like the sayings like "girl," "oh, you better," you know, all these little things that gays say. You know, I don't think they
We
realize.
stole
like,
it from them.
Yeah.
No,
And,
but, I
you
mean,
know, the
RuPaul
snapping the
didn't.
fingers, the
Yeah.
hip rolling. You know, it's just like it seems like it's kind of like
He could have stolen it
From his own aunt.
from his
From his
brother.
own
exactly.
big mom.
And he said
Right.
that his mother was a huge influence on his
Yeah.
drag, and so he did get it from a black
And
woman.
white people's parents,
You know?
honestly, y'all,
So
are
it's-
not that
Well,
They're kind of playing just mean.
I would like to think,
I have
I
to
would like to
agree.
think that Mark
Everyone.
is honestly is when we hear our white compatriots say things that we hear
At home.
at
Yeah.
home or what have you.
Yeah.
Is that a thing that we are okay with?
Oh,
Wait.
it doesn't bother me
Mhm.
because I think it's kind of cool that they want to say these things or do these things because it shows like how far we've come to where they don't like look down on it, whereas they're actually embracing the culture instead of like, oh, I don't want to act like a black lady, like I don't want to be this way, you know. But instead, they're adopting it and putting their own twist on it as well because not every drag queen and not every white queen, you know, wants to be a black woman. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like a lot of
Right.
Yeah.
the looks and certain things, you know, like I think like I saw, was it Paris is Burning? Like one of these things.
Paris is Burning.
Some of the
Yes.
drag queens, they said that they emulated, like when they first started off being drag, they emulated Marilyn Monroe, Lena Horne, all these actresses, and then it went to the pop divas, you know, like Diana Ross and all these
And
other
they
ones.
were bigger, badder,
Yes.
more
Yeah.
diva.
Afros and you know all these things, and so then it kept changing as the generations changed. And
I think
so,
it'll continue to change because now we're getting these I won't say angry, but this younger generation of like young rock star kind of drag
Yeah,
queens
I've seen those.
who are more female impersonator, more less drag, more like sharing needles, but to like a bigger extreme where they're doing different artists. They're
Completely
no
different
longer
drag.
ballads. They're no longer
Yeah.
they're rock anthem kind of drag queens. The only thing I will say about that is if you are like that universally, regardless of the company that you're keeping at the current time, I don't mind it. If you suddenly, I had an ex
I see what you're saying.
who, when he gets up to the drive-thru window and sees that the young lady is black,
Oh god.
Oh.
starts talking
Oh, God, I
like
can't
an
stand that.
idiot. I was like, you know they don't appreciate that, right?
Because you
Like,
sound so dumb.
Right. Talking
with that
honey
accent.
child, like this, that, and I'm like, the
Like
only time you
Laganja.
say that, yeah.
Laganja was like that.
And it's like,
And
if you
Bianca
just
Del
talk
Rio
like that and that's
did.
part of your personality, I love you for it. But if you're doing that,
To put on.
it's just as racist as going the other direction with it.
Can I say this? I don't think, and I will say this, and I don't think it's racist. I love the idea of the fact that
They're acting
As far
differently
as-
because you're black,
as
though.
far as gay culture is concerned, I love the fact that if you're going to go to black culture to do your whole thing, I feel like it's a compliment. I really do feel like it's a compliment.
Right, and if that's
And-
who you are, that's fine.
but I
if you
want
change
it-
it depending on who you're standing in the room
at
with.
the same time, I feel like that I wanted to get recognized.
Disingenuous, yeah.
I really wanted to get recognized as the fact that, yes, as black men, we offer something to gay culture. And we offer the words, we offer the sayings, we offer everything.
At
The
least
snaps,
2 more
everything
inches.
else. We offer that. And I love the idea of it being recognized, and I feel like that it sometimes
Right.
doesn't get
But
And
that's
my-
part of diversity is,
Yeah,
you know, just like what we were
exactly.
talking about, like gay people, I'm sorry, the gay community is made up of so many different races and people,
But the
and everybody should be acknowledged.
But, you know,
that,
I'm going to
that
say
contributes.
this. I'm
Right.
going to say this.
Yeah.
When I look at videos from all over the world, when I look at all this other stuff, who do they emulate more? They
My
emulate
Little Pony.
Us. They emulate black gay men. They emulate black gay men all over the world. When I look at videos from all kinds of things and everything else, they emulate us.
Interesting.
And I
Because
feel
it's
like
more outrageous. It's what
Yeah.
makes ratings. And in that way, I don't support that. I think
it's not
extorting that
It's not
anymore
that
is-
it's being outrageous. They just
I
love
mean, but isn't that as trend
By
as
nature,
straight-
they're
straight
more
outrageous.
media too, like music. Black
music.
artists.
Yeah, exactly. So the
Hip-hop,
idea
you know?
that when I see it all over the world, when I see this all over the world, it is they're emulating black gay men. And black gay men, that's what we do.
Right. Well, that's because they
But
are the
we
more
also
outrageous.
learn from our
The-
sisters, because sometimes we sit with our sisters and we pick up little things from them.
Yeah.
And that's
I
what
think
we
it
do.
really came
Yeah.
from women,
Mhm.
actually.
Do you
Well,
think
yeah.
those? Do you think those characteristics are partly from being minorities? Like,
No.
do you think if you were not
No,
a
I
minority,
think
would it
I
still
think when
be the
it
same?
comes to being black and gay, we love being gay.
Is it
We
about being
love
black
being
though, or is
gay.
it about being?
No, we love being gay. We love being gay. We embrace gay as much as you could possibly imagine.
Well, some
From
black,
Yeah.
some
no.
black men don't.
No,
They really don't.
But
And some black,
yes, exactly.
they'll be on the down
but
low
the,
till the end.
But the few of us who do,
Yeah.
we embrace
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
like nothing
Yeah, like
in the
if you're
world.
out, you know,
We're out.
going
We're
back,
out.
you know.
100%.
Balls in your face all the
Yeah.
time.
We're balls to the
Flat
wall. We
Yeah.
love it,
yeah.
and we do embrace gay culture because that's what we do.
I have an
And
interesting
I think
question.
we have to, and I want to say this,
Go ahead.
and I don't want people to think like, you know, if there's any black people listening, I don't want them to be like, you know, whatever. But I think we have to also give a little bit of well, I don't want to say give. Well, yeah, just like credit to everyone that's in the gay community, including white, because if you really, really think about it,
Yeah.
White men, you know, I really feel like they kind of forefronted this to their culture, to white straight people who were the majority at the time, to bring the gay culture and say like, look, we're gay too. Like white people can be gay, white men can be gay, white women can be, you know. And I feel like them seeing it on their own skin may have changed the whole country's perspective on this kind of thing. Because I think if it was just a whole group of black people at Stonewall, or like a whole group of Latino at Stonewall, it would have been a whole drawn out like angry thing, like, oh, these blacks are gay and these. But when they saw that their sons were gay and their
Right, the
nephews are
majorities.
gay or
That,
whoever,
I think
you know,
everybody knows one is
Exactly.
a huge.
I think they did a lot
helper
to
for that.
get acceptance within this country by
And by the way, that's what we do.
Yeah.
And we're good at that, and that's what we do, and that's fun.
That's what we do, or that's what you do, or
Okay.
me too.
Calm down, Chris.
Calm down, Charles. Or I'm
That's-
sorry,
that's
Hey,
Chris.
calm down, Charles. What the
I'm
fuck?
sorry. Calm down.
I couldn't be any calmer. All these pills. I had surgery yesterday, y'all. I had
No,
that
I'm
Did you
facial.
get
sorry.
your penis enlarged finally?
I had that face vaginal reconstructive surgery.
Hey, I calm down.
I had my face
because
vagina
I already
reconstructed.
have a man who's already like shown me some
Some face vagina.
Ooh.
Oh no,
You had a man with a gorilla show you his ass?
no.
Ooh.
Is starfish?
Well, what are you trying to say?
What
I
is
already-
Growler?
What?
That sounds like a Pokemon attack.
Can we have your gay?
Chris, you don't get to take people's gay card. He just wants it because I took his back.
I know. I'm like,
He just wants
I
back in
gotta
the
call
club.
somebody
That
else now.
sounds like a Pokemon move.
No.
Growler is a social networking / dating app.
There's a Pokemon called Growlithe.
Growlithe, yeah.
Yeah, this is Growler.
And Arcanine.
And
It's a bear.
It's missing the E2, so don't worry, y'all.
Interesting.
it's a lot like
Well, there's
Grinder.
something new.
It's a lot
Except-
like Grinder.
Okay.
Fluffy and fuzzier.
But it's just
It's for a certain segment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Why you gotta point this way?
bears.
Because you like.
More like,
I do.
but not muscle bears. There's not really a lot of muscle bears,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay,
Interesting.
I think that we have.
Okay.
Let me
Okay, I'll do it.
go do that.
138. What the fuck?
Oh my gosh, we are almost 9.5
Okay, so we're
inches too
done.
long in this
Thank you
episode.
for doing the show. We had a great show, and
Alright, Houston, we're getting the F out of here. If you ain't gonna be good at it.
If you're gonna drink and
Yes.
drive someone else's car.
By the way, I'm sorry. I am a dude who I'm going to do that with. So,
Drink and drive. And
So we need to
drive
get
his
the F
car?
out of here.
Oh, you
Clear out.
got company coming
Wait, you have
over.
a trick?
Well, now I'll stick around and see what it looks
I
like.
do not have a trick.
Marcus,
I'm saying
Mark this
that.
out.
Did you close that door?
He said bye.